have, oh, this is loud. Is this better? This is good. Okay, yes, great. This is gonna be a very chill session, hopefully. Just hopefully it's your first time at each conference, and hopefully I'll have maybe some good tips on what to do, what not to do, and how to enjoy the conference. So first of all, I just really wanted to follow up on what JD said, and really big welcome for everyone here. And it's really exciting to have a conference I'm based in London, so last year we had a conference in London, so this year it's really nice for me also to meet a bit more of the US community. And I hope that it'll be a very rewarding time, but it will also be quite intense and challenging, as JD said. So I hope you feel that over those 2 days. So I think EA conferences in general are quite unique. And yes, I just wanted to provide some context, so I'll talk a little bit about EA for Christians, a little bit about the broader EA movement, and hopefully give some good recommendations. If they are not good, then just don't follow them. But also a little bit about myself, because I don't think I've met everyone in person. So I'm part of the EA for Christians staff team, and I'm mostly in charge of the UK community. And so yes, I organize retreats, I helped out with those conferences, do lots of one-on-ones, some mentoring. But I'm full-time a master's student, so I'm doing my master's at LSE currently in International Social and Public Policy. And yes, and I have been working a little bit in part-time in foreign aid policy lobbying. So if that's something that's of your interest, I'm super excited to chat about that too. So yes, just a note, please come say hi. You'll see us running around, so sorry if we're a bit disorganized over those 2 days, me and JD, but hopefully you'll just have much more peaceful time over the conference that we are having. Okay, so yes, this is a staff team, so hopefully just remember those faces. Everyone here is really glad to answer any kind of question that you have or worries. We just really want to make you very comfortable and inspired, hopefully. Okay, so a little bit about EA for Christians. If I was to give a one-liner of what is happening here, I'd say it's a charity that's building a global community of Christians excited about doing the most good. And I think exactly what JD said, we feel very much called to active and quite radical service and stewardship of our resources, whether it's time, money, careers, talents, skills, just all those kind of resources that we possess as God's creatures. And we really want to encourage and support others in pursuing that kind of radical stewardship too. So mostly we're active in person in London, and I'd say hopefully in DC because we have the conference here. But we're very much an international community, as JD mentioned, all of the countries. And so, yes, so here's a QR code, it will take you to our link tree with our website, our YouTube channel. Those talks will be on that YouTube channel. There are talks from last year's conference, and 2 years we had an online conference, Facebook group, Facebook page, all those just online things that you can sign up or join or just get more information from. And we have 2 photos from our monthly dinners in London. It's quite wholesome, I'd say. We have a community every month. We just meet for dinner and with all kind of Christian EAs in London. And so we are primarily Christians, and that's I think what JD also discussed a bit more. But what is this EA part in the EA for Christians? And so we draw on ideas, as JD said, from much broader movement called effective altruism. And I know there's a lot of philosophy about this, and I encourage you to read this, but I think it's actually quite simple what it's all about. So, God really calls us to follow Jesus and serve our neighbors, and we live in a pretty well-connected and globalized world, so we can actually very much affect our neighbors who are far, far away in space, but also in time. And so EA Framework and EA Community and all the people who are essentially gathered around this movement have really produced some amazing research on how to actually try to do good well and focus on what the outputs of those intentions that we might have are, and how how to do good effectively, and how to drive a positive change, not just talk about it or dream about this. And so here are just some main examples, I'd say. So organizations like Giving What We Can or Give Well, very much argue that there are some charities that are like 100 times more effective than others. And there's a pretty big difference between a good charity and a great charity. And so Give Well, for example, offers some pretty good metrics on how to measure cost effectiveness of charities, and does the research for us, essentially, which of the charities are maybe most cost effective, and where $1 spent can do the most good. And those are the charities that they very much encourage us to donate to, given the scarce resources that we have. And the second example is about careers. So, some careers are really, really high impact. And this community is also to encourage you to consider them, consider shifting to those careers. There is an organization, as JD mentioned, also 80,000 hours, and they believe, you're going to spend around 80,000 hours in your career, so how are you going to spend it? That's just a long time. So we really want to encourage people to think about their career choice, compare options, change paths, upskill, but also I think provide the support to be okay, I'm going to be brave enough to actually change my career path. Because it's not an easy decision, and I think it's easier said than done. So I think this community is also to provide that support for doing that. And the third thing is about causes, that some causes are just potentially much more pressing and much more impactful to work on, given that, EA has this framework of neglectedness, tractability, and scope. So how neglected is a cause? How tractable is it? And how big in scale is it? And it encourages you essentially to prioritize between causes and maybe work on something that you never considered. I'm going to talk a little bit in a second about foreign aid and kind of my policy experience and how that came about. So essentially, EA focus is very much on being evidence-driven, impact-focused, and quite ambitious. And you may ask, okay, but what are you at each doing, about those ideas? So we're trying to build that community around those ideas, support, and really, as I said, equip Christians to serve our neighbors quite impactfully. So I divided into maybe 3 sections, hopefully to give you a brief overview of what's happening. So effective giving, impactful careers, and a little bit of research. So as I said, we build this community, we have retreats, we have conferences to just encourage others to donate more, to change career paths. And we have lots of online events because the community is quite international. And so there are the weekly Sunday discussion groups, and then we have some online speaker events too. And when it comes to impactful careers, actually last year in London, we launched our project called Christians for Impact, which is focused on providing Christians with impact career mentoring, essentially. We have a super cool podcast, so I encourage you to listen to that. And we have problem profiles on different issues that we think young Christians should consider working on. And we have the mentorship scheme. Some of you, in this conference, are mentors to some of our mentees, so that's quite exciting to have that. And yes, a little bit of research. Yesterday we had a pretty interesting academic workshop on Christianity and long-termism. If you're interested, what is this? Talk to Vesa. He ran that yesterday, or JD, but JD is pretty busy. So talk to Vesa, and I'm pretty sure he would be glad to talk about this a little bit more. And Vesa is also a bit more in charge of E for Christians research. He has the Christ and Counterfactual Substack, so you can sign up for that and get some notifications whenever something is posted. Okay, and so point 2, how to get maybe the most out of this conference. And I think maybe want to re-emphasize the aim of this conference, which is to inspire and to connect you with other ambitious Christians and really equip you to follow impactful service. Hopefully that's the aim. You can let us know maybe on Sunday or next month how it goes. But even if you feel a little bit more inspired to consider some of those big issues that we're considering and talking about, about here will be great. So I have 4 recommendations. First one is really immerse yourself. And I think it's a really unique experience. There's quite a unique energy. It's just like, as JT said, like lots of people really focus on like serving their neighbors, working on amazing projects all around the world. And we have all of them here for like those 2 days. So please talk to them. And I wrote, life-changing things can happen, and that relates to what I wanted to share about my first EA conference. It was an EA for Christians conference. It was an EA conference in Berlin in 2022, and I was like super stressed, of course. I didn't know like what it would look like. But then I think there are 2 moments that really like changed my life. The first one was I went to a talk on why you should work in policy. And I was like, well, I'm pretty convinced by your talk. That was good. The guy also gave us like different descriptions on the roles in policy. You know, like policy job is like not just one specific job. There are just lots of roles in that. I was like, okay, I could see myself doing that. I'm pretty excited about that. I think maybe my skill set could match that. And then an hour later, I met a co-founder of the lobbying organization that I've been working on since then. So I feel like pretty cool things can happen. So just open yourself to that and follow up, because that's what I did. I just emailed the guy like a month later being like, we met at this conference, you know? And I really liked your idea. I'd love to work for you. And that's how it happened. So I always just encourage people to like follow up and talk to people. Point 2, join conversations. Everyone here is to talk. Everyone wants to chat. Everyone wants to get to know other people. Like, just chat to people. And there's this Pac-Man rule, I think, you know, like Pac-Man and his like the face, so there's like an empty space. So if you like have conversations in like a circle, then you know you can like leave space for someone to join. That would be pretty cool. And always feel, so you know, others will leave space for you to come. So please join those conversations, okay? And don't eat alone. I think there's even a book called like with this title, Don't Eat Alone, because I mean bonding over food is great, I think, and we're gonna have lots of food hopefully throughout those 2 days. So please don't eat lunch alone. Eat with other people, maybe new people. Challenge yourself and enjoy that. And also remember to rest. It's gonna be very intense. There are like lots of talks, lots of conversations. So sleep well, go for walks. I mean, maybe when the weather is nicer. But like there's lots of space in this university. So please just go outside, take your time to rest and regain energy. And then I think this is a very big point, one-on-one culture. And I think this is exactly what makes EA conferences very unique. Because there's this incredible sense of equality among everyone. If you're like, I don't know, a professor with like 30 years of experience, or if you're a student, you can just talk to each other because you just book it for Swapcard. And I think it's great. And so I really encourage you to have those one-on-ones. And I think they're slightly different you get from talks and one-on-ones. So as JD said, talks are like optional. You don't have to go to them. Decide what you want to get out of this conference. Prioritize, I'd say, talking to people over the talks, because talks you can always like rewatch later. We're gonna put them all on YouTube. Whereas one-on-ones, it's pretty great if you can talk to someone in person. So I'd encourage you to do that. Secondly, don't worry if someone cancels the one-on-one. Don't take it personally. People are busy. Some people here are just for 1 day, or like, you know, they leave earlier, come later. Whatever the reason is, just don't worry. You can always send them an email, maybe like if you have specific questions that they can answer. But yeah, just book another one-on-one. And the third point, I'd say decide why you're meeting. Like, no pressure, but I'd say if you come to a meeting with like clear points, what you want to get out of this chat, it can be really helpful. For you, for the other person, and hopefully you'll just get something really sensible out of it. And so I wanted us to spend, maybe not 5, but like if we could spend 3 minutes booking one-on-ones. So you can go to your Swapcard. Even if you book like, if you book like 30 meetings for the conference, then maybe you can just consider writing points what you're going to talk about during those meetings. But if you have fewer than 30 one-on-ones, then how about just booking 1 or 2 more with some exciting people. So how about we do that now? till like 9:45. Just book some more one-on-ones, or like scroll, through the list, like whom we have at the conference. And in 3 minutes, we're gonna go to the next point. Someone just booked a one-on-one with me. Thank you. Okay, like 30 more seconds. Okay, so, and now, like, the last point that I wanted to talk about, it also said on the agenda it's an opportunity to meet the other first timers. But before we do that, I would really like us to think about our goals for this conference. And I would like you to spend, yes, like 2-3 minutes writing down on your phone or in your notepad answers to those two questions. The first one is like, what would it look like if this conference went extremely well for you? Like, would it be that you talked to someone and started a project? Is it that you would get like feedback on something that you're working on? Is it that you'd maybe get a job? Or, I don't know, whatever it is, think about what it would look like. And then please write down like 2 or 3 points of like steps how you can actually achieve that over the conference. And then if you're unsure how to do it, then talk to me later and we can try to figure out how to like, meet your goals over the weekend. So yes, let's spend like, again, just 2-3 minutes, okay, thinking a little bit about this. And please write it down. I think it always works, so just write it down in your mind. And hopefully, you can come back to those questions also after this session. And so the last point is I would like you to turn to someone next to you whom you don't know. So if you're sitting to someone that you know really well, please change your seat. And I would like you to, briefly maybe introduce yourself and share about your favorite home-cooked dish from childhood. And then maybe share your goals. And we're going to do that for 2 minutes, and then I'm going to close. Okay? So find someone that you haven't talked to yet, and let's share those 3 things. Okay? Okay. So I do hope that you continue those conversations and that you continue conversation with new people every few minutes. And yeah, I just wanted to kind of close. Please enjoy the conference. Just make the most of it. Have fun. Please come say hi, as I said. And please, just if you have any questions or any worries, find me or JD or anyone else from the team. And we're just really here to make this conference hopefully enjoyable and inspiring for you. And please be here in 9 minutes for Caleb's talk. Okay? So thank you so much. Please say hi and enjoy the conference.